Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Outlander, TV series. Outlander is a British-American television drama series based on the historical time travel Outlander series of novels by Diana Gabaldon. Developed by Ronald D and produced by Sony Pictures Television and Left Bank Pictures for Starz, the show premiered on August 9, 2014. It stars Caitriona Balfe as Claire Randall, a married World War II nurse who in 1945 finds herself transported back to the Scotland of 1743, where she encounters the dashing Highland warrior Jamie Fraser and becomes embroiled in the Jacobite risings. The second season of 13 episodes, based on Dragonfly and Amber, premiered on April 9, 2016. On June 1, Starz renewed the series for a third and fourth season, which adapt the third and fourth Outlander novels, Voyager and Drums of Autumn. The 13-episode third season premiered on September 10, 2017, and concluded on December 10, 2017. Season 1. In 1946, former World War II nurse Claire Randall and her husband Frank are visiting Inverness, Scotland, when she is carried back in time. From the standing stones at Craignadown to the 18th century. She falls in with a group of rebel Scottish Highlanders from the Clan Mackenzie, who are being pursued by British Redcoats led by Captain Jonathan Black Jack Randall, Frank's ancestor. She marries a Highlander, Jamie Fraser, out of necessity, but they quickly fall in love. The clan suspect her of being a spy, and retain her as a healer, preventing her attempts to return to her own time. Knowing that the Jacobite cause is doomed to fail, Claire tries to warn against pursuing a rebellion. Jamie is captured and tortured by the sadistic Randall, but rescued by Claire and the clan. They set sail for France. Season 2. In Paris, Claire and Jamie try to thwart the Jacobites by subverting the funds that King Louis XV of France is likely to provide. Jamie becomes the confidant of Bonnie Prince Charlie, but they fail to prevent the risings. Randall reappears in Paris, but Claire makes Jamie swear to keep him alive until Frank's ancestry is assured, which she achieves by convincing Randall to marry Mary Hawkins. Claire loses her baby, and they return to Scotland. The Jacobites win the Battle of Prestonpans. Before the Battle of Culloden, Jamie convinces Claire, pregnant again, to return to the 20th century. 20 years after Claire's return, Frank has died, and Claire takes her daughter Brianna to Scotland, and persuades her to believe her story. Claire discovers that Jamie did not die at Culloden, and vows to return to him. Season 3. Jamie kills Randall at Culloden, but is gravely injured, and spared execution. At Ardmere prison, he befriends the Governor Lord John Grey, who later paroles him to work at an English estate, where he fathers an illegitimate son, Willie. Jamie returns to Scotland and becomes a printer. Meanwhile, in 1948, Claire enrolls in medical school as she and Frank raise Jamie's daughter, Brianna, in Boston. Frank is killed in a car accident. With the help of Roger Wakefield, Claire learns of Jamie's whereabouts, and Claire returns to find him. She discovers that Jamie has remarried. To pay off his new wife Leary, they try to retrieve some hidden treasure, during which his nephew Ian is captured and carried off to the Caribbean. Jamie and Claire follow, and manage to rescue him. They set sail for Scotland, but are shipwrecked in Georgia. Development. In July 2012, it was reported that Sony Pictures Television had secured the rights to Gabaldon's Outlander series, with more attached to develop the project and Jim Kohlberg producing. Sony closed the deal with Starz in November 2012, and Moore hired a writing team in April 2013. That June, Starz picked up the Outlander project for a 16-episode order, and in August it was announced that John Dahl would be directing the first 2 episodes. Starz CEO Chris Albrecht later said that he had green-lighted several genre projects, including Outlander, to shift the network's series development toward audiences that were being underserved, to drive a real fervent fan base that then becomes the kind of advocacy group for the shows themselves, calling it a different kind of show than has ever been on. In my memory, Albrecht believed that Outlander combination of fantasy, action, a strong central romance, and a feminist focus would set it apart. Another distinguishing feature of the show is its use of Scottish Gaelic. is the language consultant, and sang in Gaelic on the second season's soundtrack. On August 15, 2014, after only the pilot episode had aired, the network renewed the series for a second season of at least 13 episodes, based on the second book in Gabaldon's series, Dragonfly and Amber. On June 1, 2016, Starz renewed the series for a third and fourth season, which will adapt the third and fourth Outlander novels, Voyager and Drums of Autumn. Writing. Moore said of the pilot, "There's a lot of things we did in the first 30 to 40 minutes that aren't in the book, or are compilations of things that happened in the book." He emphasized that he did not want to present the time travel dimension in a traditional special effects-laden science fiction manner. Describing the adaptation of the first season as straightforward, he explained, "It was always kind of clear what the basic structure was. Claire's trying to get home, then she meets this guy. Now she's falling in love. Now she has a conflict, will she go home? You lay it out in a very linear fashion." Regarding the darker tone of the season's second half, he said, "The show becomes more complicated and the emotional journey more wrenching." Regarding the second season and the source novel Dragonfly and Amber, Moore said, "Gabaldon was employed as consultant to the TV production." When asked in June 2015 about the adaptation of the first season, she said, "I think they did condense it very effectively. I ended up getting most of the things that I felt strongly about in there. There were only a few instances where the most important stuff in my opinion didn't get in." In March 2015, she said of the script for Season 2, "The Parisian stuff is very good, and in fact I'm deeply impressed by the outlines I've seen. I think they've done a wonderful job of pulling out the most important plot elements and arranging them in a convincing way." Gabaldon wrote the screenplay for the 2016 Season 2 episode, Vengeance Is Mine. According to Moore, the writing and pre-production for Season 4 began while Season 3 was still in active production. Casting. On July 9, 2013, it was announced that Sam Heughan had been cast as Jamie Fraser, the male lead. Tobias Menzies was the second actor cast. On August 8, in dual roles as both Frank and Jonathan Randall, and on September 4 Graham McTavish and Gary Lewis were cast as the brothers Mackenzie. On September 11 it was announced that Irish actress Caitriona Balfe had been cast to play Claire Randall. The series later added Lotta Baker's Gaylis Duncan and Laura Donnelly as Jamie's sister Jenny in October 2013. In December 2013, Simon Callow was cast in the supporting role of Duke of Sandringham, and Entertainment Weekly reported in April 2014 that Stephen Cree would portray Ian Murray. Bill Patterson was cast as Lioned Gowan in June 2014. Author Gabaldon has a cameo as Iona McTavish in the August 2014 episode, The Gathering. In August 2014 it was announced that Fraser Hines had been cast in the role of a prison warden in an episode to air in 2015. From 1966 to 1969, Hines had portrayed the Doctor Who character Jamie McCrimmon, who Gabaldon said had inspired the setting of the Outlander series and the character of Jamie Fraser. Hines plays Sir Fletcher Gordon, an English prison warden, in the May 2015 episode, Wentworth Prison. In June 2015, the series cast Andrew Gower as the Jacobite pretender Prince Charles Edward Stuart, Robert Kavanagh as Jamie's Scottish cousin Jared, a wine merchant and Jacobite living in Paris, as Jamie's French ex-lover, and Lawrence Tobias as Alex Randall, Blackjack's younger and gentler brother. Other cast added for Season 2 include as the French pickpocket Fergus, Rosie Day as the Baronet's daughter Mary Hawkins, Stanley Webber as Gila Master Raymond, as French Minister of Finance, Francis de la Tour as Mother Hildegarda, and Audrey Brisson as Sister Angelique. In July 2015, Lionel Longchamp was cast as King Louis XV of France. Moore revealed June 2015 that Verbeek would be returning in the role of Gaylis. Richard Rankin was cast as Roger Wakefield in December 2015, while Sophie Skelton was chosen to portray Brianna Randall, Claire and Jamie's daughter, in January 2016. In August 2016, Starz announced that David Berry had been cast as Lord John William Grey for Season 3. In September, Will Johnson was cast as Joe Abernathy, and John Bell as Young Fraser Murray. In October, Cesar Domboy was cast as an adult Fergus, and Lauren Lyle as Lauer's daughter Marcelie McKimmie. Hannah James and Tanya Reynolds were cast as sisters Geneva and Isabel Dunsany in November 2016. In October 2017, 2 season 4 roles were announced. Maria Doyle Kennedy was cast as Jamie's Aunt Jocasta, and Ed Spilliers as Stephen Bonnet, an Irish pirate and smuggler. The casting of Colin McFarlane as Jocasta's slave butler Ulysses was announced in January 2018. Filming. In July 2013, British Chancellor of the Exchequer George Osborne confirmed that the production would benefit from the Creative Sector Tax Relief Programme implemented in the UK in 2012, which extends film tax reliefs to high-end television productions. The Scottish Government also agreed to help pay for the conversion of a warehouse complex on the outskirts of Cumbernauld in North Lanarkshire into a film studio. Principal photography began on location in Scotland in September 2013. The Cumbernauld studios were used for on-set filming, with location shoots taking place at Doune Castle, Stirling Mills in East Linton, East Lothian, Newton Moor in the Scottish Highlands, Rothiemurchus Forest, Arvymore, quarries near Bathgate, West Lothian, and Aberfoyle, Stirling. Other locations include Loch Rannoch in the Highlands, and Falkland and Powys in Fife. Filming for Season 2 began in April 2015, to air in spring 2016. The primary setting for the season is Paris, which Moore explained is being recreated using other locations. Some interiors were filmed on the show's Scotland soundstages, while Prague was used for the exterior street scenes and the Palace of Versailles. In addition, some palaces in the south of England which have French rooms and architecture were used as Parisian interiors and part of Versailles. Moore noted that Season 2 of Outlander will look completely different than Season 1, with a richer, more dynamic kind of visual palette. With the change of setting from Scotland to France, he said that visually you've moved from the heavy woods and stone of Season 1 into the finery of the Parisian apartments. He explained, production on the third season began in September 2016 in Scotland, and filming took place in Cape Town from March to June 2017. Filming completed on June 16, 2017. In August 2017, Moore said that for Season 4, locations in Scotland would double as 18th-century America, and some of the mountains and rivers of North Carolina would be recreated using locations in Eastern Europe. Music. The music is composed by Bear McCreary. The title song is an adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's poem Sing Me a Song of the Lad That Is Gone, set to the tune of the Scottish folk song, the Sky Boat Song. For the first half of Season 2, the second verse of the opening theme is sung in French to reflect the season's French setting. Release. Outlander premiered in the US on August 9, 2014. Its first 8 episodes aired through September, and the remaining 8 episodes of Season 1 resumed in April 2015. The first season finale aired on May 30, 2015. Outlander debuted in Australia on Soho on August 14, 2014, and began airing in Canada on Showcase on August 24, 2014. The series also premiered on October 21, 2014, in Ireland. In the United Kingdom, it was acquired by Amazon Prime Instant Video, where it premiered on March 26, 2015. In April 2015, The Herald reported that emails leaked in the Sony Pictures Entertainment hack suggested that the broadcast delay in the UK may have been due to sensitivity about the September 2014 Scottish independence referendum. The second season of 13 episodes premiered on April 9, 2016. And the 13-episode third season premiered on September 10, 2017. Moore stated in August 2017 that he hopes that the fourth season will premiere in fall 2018. Critical response. The first season scored 73 out of 100 on Metacritic based on 34 reviews, which were generally favorable, while the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes reports a 91% certified fresh critics rating, with an average rating of 7.92 based on 49 reviews. The website consensus reads, Outlander is a unique, satisfying adaptation of its source material, brought to life by lush scenery and potent chemistry between its leads. The Huffington Post called the first episode a masterpiece of impressive depth. It is amazing. Entertainment Weekly gave the premiere an A rating, writing that it was sexy and smart and stirring. Matt Zollerzeitz of New York Magazine also praised the series, calling it defiantly its own thing, part romance novel fantasy, part time travel story, and part wartime drama. Sonia Saraya of the AV Club gave the first 6 episodes an A, writing that it does for 1743 Scotland what Downton Abbey does for 1912 England, and adding that Outlander succeeds admirably. It refuses to sit comfortably in any genre. British reception was more mixed. In the first UK review, Siobhan Sinnott of The Scotsman said, "There has not been such a proud display of Tartanalia since the opening of the 2014 Commonwealth Games." Alistair Mackay of the Evening Standard quoted Saraya's comparison with Downton Abbey, adding, "The comparison is entirely correct. It is magical mystical Luta cobblers." Ewan Ferguson of The Observer called it gorgeous drivel, and Thomas Batten of The Guardian stated, "If you love the scenery, shifting allegiances, and palace intrigue of Game of Thrones, but find yourself wishing the pace were a little slower and that the sex scenes were filmed in a more pretentious manner with lots of slow pans and softer lighting, here's your show." Graham Virch noted the rather languid pace of the opening episodes, but praised the show's rare acknowledgement of the female gaze in its treatment of sex scenes. The Daily Telegraph also made the Game of Thrones comparison, while the Independent stated, "Yes, it's a time-traveling, wish-fulfillment fantasy, but it's done with such flair and attention to detail that it's impossible not to hop on board for the ride." The second season received positive reviews from critics. On Metacritic, the season has a score of 85 out of 100 based on 11 reviews, indicating universal acclaim. On Rotten Tomatoes, it reports a 97% certified fresh rating with an average rating of 8.28 based on 20 reviews. The website consensus reads, Outlander returns for a second addictive season of mystery and sweeping romance as Claire and Jamie take on Paris. Based on 5 episodes for review, Mara Eakin of the AV Club gave it a perfect A grade and wrote, "It's not just well written and lovely to look at. It's downright immersive." Outlander feels important even more so in its second season. The third season has received positive reviews from critics. On Metacritic, the season has a score of 87 out of 100 based on 6 reviews, indicating universal acclaim. Rotten Tomatoes reports a 95% certified fresh rating, with 8.08 over 10 based on 15 reviews. The website consensus reads, Outlander's epic love story returns with the same strong storytelling and an added layer of maturity. Based on 6 episodes for review, Liz Shannon Miller of IndieWire gave it an A grade review and wrote, "This is a show that's grown and matured since its initial premiere in ways that defied our initial expectations." Ratings. The first 8 episodes averaged more than 5.1 million multi-platform viewers per episode. In July 2015, noting Outlander's strong ratings, its vocal online fandom and a slew of think pieces tied to its feminist twists on the action genre, Joseph Adalian of Vulture.com credited Outlander as one of the series responsible for Starz's increased success against competitors like Showtime. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?